If you're trying to lose body fat, you've probably been told you need to avoid carbohydrates. Maybe you've stopped eating bread, cut out pasta and rice, or potentially gone the whole hog and removed carbohydrates from your diet altogether. Well, 6 weeks ago, I completed a photo shoot. I lost 17 kilos in 17 weeks and got myself into the shape of my life. Six-pack abs, veins in places I didn't know you could get veins in, and I looked like a completely different person. And one of the biggest reasons why I was able to get myself that lean and in that kind of shape was because I stopped fearing carbohydrates. I learned how to use them properly and actually ended up eating more carbohydrates than ever before. So in this video, I'm going to explain the biggest myths surrounding carbohydrates and why they get such a bad rep, and then break down the 3 key reasons why eating more carbs will help you lose more body fat. So let's get into it. Let's start with the big misconception, because this is where most lads go wrong. Most guys think carbs make you fat. They don't. What makes you gain body fat is consistently eating more calories than your body burns, aka being in a calorie surplus. Think about it, you can gain weight eating nothing but chicken and broccoli if you eat enough of it. The same way that you can lose weight eating nothing but bread, rice, and pasta if you're in a calorie deficit. The food itself isn't the problem, it's the amount of it you're eating. The reason why carbs get demonized so much is because they cause your scale weight to fluctuate massively. When people cut carbs from their diet, they often lose weight really quickly, 1, 2, or 3 kilograms in a week. The problem is they assume it's body fat they're losing, and spoiler alert, it isn't. In reality, most of it is water. You see, every gram of carbohydrates your body stores is stored as glycogen. And for every gram of glycogen you store, your body has to store 3 to 4 grams of additional water. So what really happens when lads cut carbs from their diet is they're just depleting their glycogen stores. And as their glycogen stores get lower and lower, their bodies are releasing that water as well. The scale drops quickly, they look a little flatter, maybe their waist even looks a little bit tighter, and they assume they've lost shit tons of body fat. They haven't, they've lost mostly water. So of course, naturally, when they eat carbohydrates again, their glycogen stores get replenished, the water weight comes back on, the scale weight spikes upwards, and then they start to panic, which then usually results in them putting 2 and 2 together and assuming that carbs were the problem in the first place and the reason why they were fat to begin with. And once you understand this, you can stop fearing carbs and actually start using them properly to help you lose more body fat. So here's how. Reason number 1, carbs will improve your training. Whenever you eat carbohydrates, your body breaks them down into glucose. Some of that is used immediately for energy, and the rest is stored in your muscles and liver as glycogen. But I want you to think of glycogen as your body's fuel tank. When you smash a heavy gym session, go for a run, or do any high intensity exercise, your body is heavily reliant on those glycogen stores. And by avoiding carbohydrates, you're essentially turning up to your workouts with half a tank of fuel. You're weaker, you fatigue quicker, you lift lower weights, and ultimately the quality of your training drops drastically. But here's the thing, during my 17-week fat loss phase, I wanted to do the opposite. I wanted to keep my training intensity and quality as high as possible despite eating fewer calories. So instead of removing carbs, I just used them more strategically. I'd purposefully time the majority of my carbohydrate intake pre and post workout. By eating a decent chunk of carbs before my workouts, I went into them with plenty of energy. I was able to train harder, progress on my movements, and get more out of my sessions. And then eating a decent chunk of carbs after my workouts helped me speed up the recovery process. But you need to remember, absolutely everything from the number of calories you eat, the breakdown of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, to what training program you follow needs to be tailored to you. This is what I do with all of my one-to-one clients. I build everything around them, their lifestyle, their work schedule, their preferences, their metrics, and their goals. But I appreciate that that can get quite confusing and you might not really know where to start. Which is why if you head to the link in the description, you can download my completely free 6-week fat loss program. You'll literally get everything you need, including tailored calorie and macro targets so you know what foods to be eating and how much of those foods to be eating, a choice of 3 different training programs to fit your lifestyle and your schedule, and a bunch of different resources and guides covering things like supplementation and optimizing your recovery so that you can get the most out of that 6 weeks. And once again, it is completely free. There's no catch. All you got to do is head to the link in the description, put your name and your email in, and I'll send it across. Reason number 2, carbs will help you hold on to more muscle mass. Without a doubt, one of the biggest mistakes that lads make when it comes to losing body fat is being obsessed with losing as much weight as they possibly can. When in reality, there's a massive difference between losing weight and losing body fat. Your goal shouldn't be to lose as much weight as you can. It should be to lose as much body fat as you can and keep as much muscle as possible. I mean, think about it. If 2 blokes both lost 10 kilos, but one of them lost 10 kilos of body fat and the other lost a lot of muscle, they're gonna look completely different. And you can probably take a good guess as to which one's gonna look better. The bloke that maintains his muscle mass is gonna look leaner, more athletic, more muscular, and have a much better body composition. And because throughout my fat loss phase, I made sure that 50% of my diet was comprised of carbohydrates, I was able to train close to failure and progress across my movements, which meant I held on to the majority of my muscle mass. Think about lifting weights like sending a message to your body. You're essentially telling it that this muscle is still needed. And if your performance in the gym completely falls apart, that message is going to be a lot weaker and your body's not going to receive it. Now, there's also something that I haven't spoken about yet called the protein sparing effect, which essentially is when your body has enough carbohydrates available, it's much less likely to use protein as an energy source, meaning a higher percentage of the protein that you eat can actually go towards the repair and rebuild of muscle tissue. And is one of the reasons why at the end of my cut, I actually look like I have more muscle as opposed to just looking weaker, smaller, and more fragile. Reason number 3, carbs improve adherence. Now, in all honesty, out of the 3 reasons, I'd say this is the most important one. It's no secret that carbs are fucking fun. And most of your favorite foods are probably really high in carbohydrates. Bread, pastas, pizzas, donuts, cookies. Man, I fucking love cookies. But the best fat loss diet isn't the one that's theoretically the most perfect. It's the one that you can stick to the most consistently for long enough to get lean enough. So as I've mentioned, where a lot of lads end up going wrong is cutting carbohydrates out their diet and therefore avoiding a lot of their favorite foods. And you and I both know, unless you've got a ridiculously high amount of discipline, you're not going to be able to stick to that for very long. Which is why they usually last a week or two, feel tired 24/7, are always hungry, and the process feels ridiculously restrictive. Little cracks start to show, the odd snack here or a couple of drinks out at the weekend, and inevitably they completely fall off track and then just tell themselves things like,
I don't have enough willpower.
Willpower was never the problem. They just set themselves up with a diet that was always destined to fail. And the reality is, over the course of my fat loss phase, my diet was simply enjoyable. Every single day I was eating foods I actually liked. Pastas, bagels, potatoes, you name it, I was eating it. I even set my diet up so that every single weekend, me and my girlfriend would go out for some of our favorite food and have a couple of sweet treats. And in case you didn't already know, I fucking love pizza. And this meant throughout the whole 17 weeks, I didn't fall off track once. It was only towards the very end, when the photo shoot was getting closer and my calories were getting lower, where I started to notice some cravings creep in. As harsh as it sounds, you need to remember that you have more body fat to lose than you think, which is also probably going to take longer than you think. So instead of asking the question, what's the best diet for fat loss, you should be asking yourself, what diet can you stick to for long enough until you're lean enough? And I'll bet you £100 right now, that's a diet that includes your favorite foods and therefore carbohydrates. So hopefully by now you can see that carbs are not the reason why guys struggle to lose body fat. And in fact, for me, were one of the biggest reasons why I was able to lose so much of it and get myself into great shape to begin with. And again, that's exactly why I'm giving away the free 6-week fat loss program in the link in the description, to show you step by step how to lose shit tons of body fat without mass restriction, cutting out carbs, or avoiding your favorite foods. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. It helps push these videos out to more people. And of course, if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.